Okay, some more reaction here from members of the Prime Minister's Advisory Council. Lana Payne is the national president for Unifor. She was in that advisory council meeting earlier today ahead of the president's tariff announcement. Lana Payne, good day, bad day. Like it's I don't know if there are good days anymore. But you know, Mark Carney, you heard him saying, I believe that this is just going to fundamentally change the international trading system. So even though it's no extra action against Canada, it's a whole bunch of other action that's going to affect Canada no matter what.
Yeah, nobody in Canada should allow Trump to gaslight us into feeling grateful that he didn't smack us harder today. That is for sure. We have a very big problem on our hands, David. We have tariffs on auto, we have tariffs on steel and aluminum. We have a decision that's going to be made on these border tariffs, and they have signaled that they are coming after our sectors one by one by one. Canada cannot relent here one bit. We have to continue to push back hard and be strong.
What do you think the Prime Minister should do tomorrow in responding to this? Because while there is no additional action, there is always the ongoing threat of additional action. And the ones that were in place are still in place, and the ones that were threatened are still coming. What would you advise the Prime Minister to do?
A couple of things. I think he needs to continue to be calm, cool, and collected as he has been throughout this. I believe that from the perspective of workers, they are going to expect him to have a strong response in terms of how we protect auto jobs, how we protect, because auto is in the crosshairs right now, but other sectors will be in the crosshairs coming up. Lumber, pharmaceuticals, you name it, this president has said he's coming for it. So the reality is this is the start of what is going to be a very difficult situation. And I think he needs to signal to corporations in the auto sector and in other places that if they're going to appease Trump by giving in to their illegal and unjustified tariffs, by shifting production out of Canada into the United States, that they are going to face penalties for doing that.
You know, Lana, I'm looking at what the president is saying and what he's doing and what his stated objectives are. And looking at it from this side of the border, it seems to me, and maybe this is too reductionist, I don't know, that he wants our market, he wants to sell us things, he wants us to provide natural resources, but he does not want us as a partner, does not want us as a competitor. It's really just as a client and a supplier. It seems to be the nature of the relationship he is seeking with a lot of his big trading partners.
I mean, the reality is, David, he doesn't get to have it both ways. I mean, this is the thing. He has just declared economic war on most of the world right now, except for Russia and a few other favored friends. And the reality is, Canada will have to respond to this trade war. And by the way, we have been leading the way, I believe, in the world in terms of how you deal with situations like this. Europe has been following suit. Germany has been following suit. We need other countries to also push back against the United States, which was why it was so important for Canada to do what it has been doing. But in the medium term, what we're going to see in the coming days and weeks and months are corporations making decisions based on these tariffs.
Right.
And that is what I'm concerned about, how that impacts our members and all workers in Canada, and how do we prevent these corporations from giving up on Canada in order to appease Donald Trump. That is the big question, and we're going to have to deal with that as a country.
Appeasing Donald Trump is one option. Negotiating with him, defying him, confronting him. There's a range of options there. But with whatever happens on April 28th with the election and afterwards, Mark Carney and Pierre Poilievre have both said they're going to need to start a large-scale renegotiation of this trading relationship, because this month-by-month, tariff-by-tariff, threat-by-threat, pause-by-pause is no way to do anything. So, I mean, when you look down the road to what happens after the election, is that the best outcome right now? That this is, it seems like a negotiation is inevitable in his second term, that it starts as quickly as possible, try to just get the rules of engagement locked down as soon as we can.
Yeah, I think we have to be careful not to negotiate too quickly, David. This is a president who has dominant power right now. It'll be different in 2 years from now when he's facing elections in Congress and all of those sorts of things. I think we have to look at the window. Yes, we can get to a bargaining table, but we're dealing with a lot of concessions right now.
Yeah.
We are dealing from a position of having tariffs already on us. And is that really the strongest negotiating position that we could be in? I suggest probably not. So, this is going to require a lot of strategic thought and I think a very deliberate approach by Canada. And what I've seen so far, I have liked. We have not gone to appease this president. We have instead held our own and held it well. And I would say Canadians have played a very large role in that by being unified and by showing their solidarity and by organically doing things like not taking vacations in the United States, buying Canadian, and now we have to shift from what it is this trade war is going to do and how we get to building a more resilient Canadian economy. And we've got so many resources and
Right.
so much leverage to be able to do that, David.
Yeah, appeasement doesn't seem to work. It just becomes the starting point for more concessions, is the impression I have.
Absolutely.
All right, Lana Payne, always appreciate the time. That's the national president of Unifor, Lana Payne.